Okay, our speaker today, we again have a twofer. We've had many presentations by T.J. Johnson, and he is an insurance expert, and he navigated Obamacare, the affordable health care. He would go through, find the bugs, find what didn't work, come tell us, help us through, saved people in Launchpad Job Club a ton of money. He's been a good friend, never, for personal gain. It's just always just to share information and give you the tools that you need to make good decisions. And now he is back with a brand new show. He's brought a colleague, and so Shay Embry is his colleague. She's going to talk a little bit about jobs in the insurance industry, and then TJ is going to talk to you about self-defeating language, how we sabotage our own job searches, and he's going to get us out of that. So who's going to talk first, Shay or TJ? Shay. All right, she's the warm-up band. Everybody give a big hand to Shay Embry.
Hello. I am Shay Embry, S-H-A. I don't know what's up with that. My mom's from Arkansas. I think she misspelled it, but we're not going to hold that against her, okay? I don't answer to Shaw very much. Tell you a little bit today. First of all, we will have a quiz at the end of my presentation. So you guys, oh, sure. I have 5 kids. I've never been accused of not speaking up. So first of all, there will be a quiz, like I said, right? Even cash prizes at the end. So does that get your attention? Right? Okay. And also will be interactive. So I expect participation. As you can kind of tell, I'm a hands-on kind of person. I am a partner at the New York Life office, the regional office here. And I'm also a financial advisor. So at the end of the day, you kind of get an idea what I do, right? I'm like Susie Orman, Dave Ramsey, except for I have longer hair and better shoes, right? Okay. You're supposed to go along with this, right? I am in charge of expanding the footprint here and servicing the community in the Austin regional area. So we're actively looking for good fits. Have anybody ever seen Groundhog Day? Right? Okay. Oh, I see smiles now. You know where I'm going with this, right? I'm not looking for that guy. Do you know what I'm talking about? Right? Hey, whole life, right? Right, that guy? Okay. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're looking for, and it's not that person. To tell you about the characteristics, I mean, you guys are familiar with New York Life, right? You've kind of heard of it, Fortune 100 company, all that stuff, so I'm going to skip over that. Characteristics of the opportunity. I made cheat notes. Anybody ever thought about having their own business? Right? But it's kind of scary a little bit, isn't it? Right? Got to pay the rent, the receptionist, the marketing materials, right? That's why people do franchises. Well, this is kind of like they have the secret chocolate chip recipe. If it is something you're looking at, having your own business, you might be a good candidate, because that opportunity is a little bit about being self-employed. Because the people on my team, I don't call them in the morning, Kathy, and go, hey, are you out of bed? What is David, did you get up this morning? Right? Are you out? Okay. It is very much about having a lot of control of your career. It has a lot of flexibility, which is good and bad. Like, again, going back to having a little bit of say. Lots of advancement in income, right? Most of my team looks good in 6 figures. How about you guys, right? Kind of? No one likes 6 figures? Hello, Kathy, is there a pulse? Right, it's expensive to live in Austin. So great income potential. And what is the rumor everybody has about the financial industry? Come on, somebody, play with me. Right? This is a recession-proof business. Did you know that about the financial services industry? When times are good, guess what they want to know about? What to do with their money, right? When times are bad, guess what they want to know? There you go. So that's one thing. You can check that off. We have an industry where you don't get laid off, okay? Our training program, because most people, I'm going to tell you a secret. When I was little, I didn't go, I'm going to be a ballerina, an actress, or a financial advisor. No, I didn't do that, right? No one, when they're little, thinks they're going to grow up and be a financial advisor. Would we agree with that? Okay. I kind of agree with that. This is a career that finds you. This is my second career. I think we're all in a position where at some point in time where you're reevaluating what are you going to do. And I'm going to sound like a girl, because I am one, but I'm going to sound like one. I'm actually looking for a commitment. I want someone who wants a career, because we put lots of training behind our people. Lots of it. Harvard University actually designed our training. So lots and lots of money. So the rumor we have about this industry is 100% commission, right? Scary, kind of, a little bit. That is not true, all right? I'm not gonna go into the 9 different ways that we're compensated, but we also, to put it in perspective, the first year, the training allowance alone is up to $36,000, okay? So like I said, I'm looking for the right fit. Now, characteristics of this person that might be a good fit. You curious? A little bit? You guys writing this down because there might be a quiz, all right? Good people. I can train for the skill. It's hard for me to make good people. Come on, ladies, we've all dated, right? Have you ever tried to make someone good? It's tough, isn't it? All right? Because at the end of the day, what we do is, you know that feeling right here when you're worried about financial stuff? When you lay in bed, that feeling, you know, right? What we try to do is take that away from people, or at least help them have a plan to get out of it or not feel alone in it. So it's kind of the person I'm looking for, a good steward to someone. I'm not going to hire someone I wouldn't have sit down with my Arkansas parents, okay? And God knows they need help. They're from Arkansas. So a chance to really make a difference, meaningful, be trained for it, and it be your last career. My job is to be a good steward of the opportunity. What my team, TJ can tell you this, my team's called the rock stars in the office. You know why? Because we do a lot of karaoke? No. Right? We have fun. But we're called the rock stars because we really do make a difference. We enjoy what we do. We have fun. One of the things about my group that makes them awesome is they're great people. But what I found when I interview, if I can sit down with David and learn what's going on with David and what his goals are, and they happen to align with mine, which happens to align with the company, and I can just focus on David, guess what it makes David work with? A really happy person, right? So looking happy people to work with that we can focus on. Now, so I'm going to give you a little quiz here, okay? First part of the quiz. I'm not going to ask any questions, but if you do have some, see me in the back. We are currently interviewing, because as you know, Austin's growing by how many people a week? I hear different numbers every week. Okay, great. Right? And guess what they don't have when they come here? Right? That could be it. You're thinking that thing. I'm thinking usually they're coming here for an opportunity, right? But they usually leave their 401k, their financial advisors, so they're looking for someone to help them. We're looking for bilingual people, right? We have Samsung. There's a lot of opportunities. So do see me, and I promise to be a good steward of that opportunity. Okay, so end of the day, I got a quiz for you. Ready? Are you a smart crowd? Okay. Are you sure now? You don't? Yeah. Okay. So, what is the one thing that is not allowed on a postage stamp? Yes, ma'am. Very good. You know, I have done this for 5 years. I've never had anybody answer it. Very good. And it's the same thing that goes with money, right? Awesome. Come here. Oh, I'm sorry. A living person. A living person is not allowed to be on a postage stamp or money. And you, my friend, you have made a dollar bill. Miss Nancy, give her a big hand. Nancy Ruiz. I'm going to remember that name forever because I've never had anybody get it in the first try. So you are a smart group. Someone needs to hire Nancy, right? Nancy, come see me when we get done. Okay, I'm not done. I got one more quiz. All right? Remember I told you there'd be monetary prizes, right? Okay? And usually I do Starbucks cards, but I got lazy this morning and go by Starbucks, so forgive me. So now it's just cash prizes. Okay, so who can name at least 3 characteristics of what I'm looking for in an employee? Okay, Mike, lay it on me. Let's hear it. Integrity. Financial acumen. Trust is good. Should we let that go? Should that be 3 characteristics, you think? Are you guys good? You guys are tough? Come here, Mike. Come here. You can't? All right. Here's your Starbucks. It's $5. Is that reasonable enough for Starbucks? Okay. Yeah, kind of picky, isn't he? Maybe you given me 4 answers, we would have upped it a little bit to a grande, okay? Hey, listen, guys, I just want to, like I said, introduce myself. Come see me. I'll make sure I'm a good steward and fit. Actually, I did write down some names of some people that were up there, so watch it, guys. I have my eye on you. And I told TJ I would warm up the crowd, okay? So you know what this means. I expect big claps for him, right? I mean, like, wow, he's standing ovation. He wanted me to coordinate a wave, right? Okay. Listen, guys, thanks so much, and good luck in your adventures and job hunting, okay? Oh, yes, sir. Tim. New York Life. Trust. And actually, it's more important. Trust is important, right? This is you get your clients, and you're building that relationship with them, and they're your clients ongoing. So we're not here to sell someone they don't need and take off. I'm not so worried about the financial aspect of it because you have a team and you have training, right? It's more important the people skills and that relationship. Because sometimes people don't really want to talk about their finances. Have you noticed that, Kathy? Right? So we had to have them have that conversation. But like I said, I'm welcome to have that conversation with you. I love what I do. I think you can tell. I send people to college. I retire people. Hey, the number one question I get for people is, do I have enough money to retire, right? I tell them I have a perfect plan for it, Kathy. You tell me the day you're going to die, and I'll plan exactly down to the penny. Okay? Anyways, thanks again, guys. I appreciate you very much. You've been a very interactive, lively crowd. Thanks, Miss Kathy. TJ, they warmed up for you?
Okay, we do need a hand for TJ.
Come on, guys. Woo!
What's up? Am I good? Am I good? Okay. Morning. Thanks again for Kathy and everybody allowing me to speak today. Most of you know me that have heard me speak before, know me as the insurance guy. So the first question that I would have if I was in your shoes is, what does the insurance guy have to do and why is he qualified to speak and tell us about our limiting behaviors and how they're hindering our job search? Correct. Right. I don't have a special degree. I don't have a degree in public speaking. I'm not a recruiter. I don't sit and look at resumes every day. It's not what I do. What I do every day is I spend every day interviewing for jobs. Every client that I've gotten over the past 5 years, every business owner I've talked to, every individual that I've sat down with was a job interview. I don't sell any products or offer any products that any other insurance agent out there on the planet doesn't offer. What I do offer that's different is myself. Very much when you go out and apply for a job. There's someone else out there that has your exact same skill set, that went to the same college, that has the same degrees, that has the same amount and years of work experience that you have. So when you're interviewing for a job, what you're really doing is selling yourself rather than selling a specific skill set. Now there are instances I understand where they're looking for, this exact set of skills, and if you have them, you do, and if you don't, you don't. But just so you know, I'm not necessarily a numbers guy. I'm a big picture man of action, set a plan, set a goal, let's move forward. I will throw a few numbers out there today, a few statistics out there today for those of you that wrap your head around numbers better. So what do I mean that I apply for jobs every day? I can guarantee you that in the last 5 years, I've gone on more job interviews than all of you have gone through in their entire life. The numbers are this. The numbers are that for every 10 contacts I have a day, that means for every person that I talk to that's willing to hear about what it is that I do for a living, I'm going to set 2 appointments. For every 10 appointments I set, I'm going to get 2 clients. That's the numbers, industry standard numbers. I have somewhere in the area of 300 to 350 clients over 5 years. So you do the math and figure out how many people that I've had to talk to and interview over the last 5 years to be where I am today in my career. And I'm not, by far, I'm not the best, I'm not the worst, I'm somewhere high average. But that's what it is that I do every single day. So that's why I'm qualified to stand up here, because I went through the same things that you're going through. I didn't start in this industry. I don't have a finance background. I didn't wake up when I was in 10th grade and say, hey, I want to have my own insurance practice, my own financial planning practice. I was recruited by someone that I didn't know because they liked me and thought that I did a good job. I have a restaurant background. That's what I did for 18 years. Everything from management to front of the house, back of the house. My situation changed. I was 39 years old. I met a lady who had a young daughter. We decided to get together, start a family, grow our family. $34,000 a year was no longer cutting it. Working from 4 in the afternoon till 2 o'clock in the morning was no longer what I wanted to do. We agreed that she wanted to stay home and that we needed to make X amount of dollars to allow her to do that. I quit my restaurant job. I started working at Specs. Some of you know it. Fine wine, liquor sales. Anyway, I started working in the fine wine department. Inside 11 months, I was #1 sales in all of Austin. Contrary to what you understand, Specs is a commission-based sales position when you work on the floor. It's not hourly wage. I subsequently got recruited by a New York Life recruiter because I was tops in sales. I went through the same thing everybody said. I don't want to be that guy. I don't know anything about insurance. I don't like insurance. I'm not going to be an insurance salesman. 5 years later, here I am. I'm still not that guy, and I'm still not an insurance salesman. So that is where I feel that I'm qualified to give this talk. If you look at the numbers, I technically have an 80% failure rate. I have an 80% failure rate in getting appointments to the number of people I talk to, and I have an 80% failure rate in the number of appointments that I have to the number of clients I get, right? 80% failure rate is not very good. This requires a paradigm shift and a shift in thinking and an understanding of what it is I do every day and what it is for success. The same thing goes for those of you who say, well, I've put out this number of resumes, I've had this number of interviews, I've had this number of job hits on my LinkedIn, I've had this number of this, nothing's happened. I'm going to touch on that a little bit later in terms of the negative thinking and the paradigm shift that you have to get up every day and go do what it is that I do and go do what it is that you guys in the situation you're in right now do. The shift needs to be, and to succeed in what you're doing and what I'm doing, you need to shift your thinking and focus on enjoy the process, not the result. Easier said than done. Nobody likes doing what they do. Nobody likes fielding resumes, going to interviews, and that sort of thing. But if you can start to enjoy the process, and I'm going to give you some tricks that will help you to enjoy the process or at least make it more fun than it's been in the past. So that's going to move us to our first activity. Yay, activities. We're all going to have some fun today. And if you pay attention and you participate, hopefully a few of them here will learn something. So my first question for you today is, who are you sitting next to, or who's the closest person sitting next to you? My second question is, have you sat next to that person before, or have you sat next to that person for a number of times since you've been coming here? Yes, no, some people have, some people haven't. So what I want you to do now is I want you to position yourself such that you're sitting next to someone that you've never met. So some of you are going to have to shift, some of you that's going to be okay. I want you to be in direct proximity to someone that you've never met before. Can you cue me 60 seconds? We all good? We all have at least one face on one side of us that we don't know, that we've never sat next to before? This is not going to be as painful as you guys all think it's going to be, trust me. So we have a 60-second timer up here. All I want you to do, choose one of you to go first. You're both going to get an opportunity. Choose one of you to go first. For the next 60 seconds, and this is why it's painless, for the next 60 seconds, all I want you to do is turn to that person next to you and ask questions. I want you to find out as much as you can about them that will help you to help them get a job. So it can be anything from what is it you do, to what part of town do you live in, to are you looking for a new career, to what do you hate the most about the industry that you came from. For 60 seconds, I want you to gather as much information as you can that will help you help them get a job. Alrighty? Go. Okay, now we're going to do it again. We're just switch positions. Ready? And go. Okay, so what did we learn? Anyone? What did we learn? So we learned something about the other person, correct? And one of you in here may have had an aha moment talking to the other person and said, you know what, I know someone that this person, I should introduce this person to, right? It's not the point of the exercise. Great if it happens, not the point of the exercise. What do we learn? I want you to internalize what you learned on your end. Not the knowledge that you gained about that other person, which is important, but what did you internalize on your end? Hopefully what you internalized is, like you said, 60 seconds isn't very long, right? A lot of you kept on talking, there's a lot more to say. The second thing that I want you to understand is that when all you're doing is asking questions, it's not really that hard, is it? It's not really that big a deal. So my question to you and my challenge to those of you that have sat next to the same person or have been coming here for a period of time is, why don't you come here every day and spend 60 seconds talking to someone that you don't know and asking questions about them? Okay? I'm going to touch on why that's important later. You can see the obvious reasons right away, right? In the larger world application, why don't you spend 60 seconds every day out talking to someone and asking questions of someone that you don't know, right? And we'll get into why we don't do that in a second, okay? But it's important. So if you take nothing else away from the exercise, internalize the fact that you can relatively do, I don't know if any of you do sports or train or do anything like that. I've done martial arts most of my life. They always tell you, you can do anything for 60 seconds because it's really not that long a time. So why do we limit ourselves, and why do a lot of these things, why do we not do a lot of these things? Who in here, raise your hand, who in here is a people person? So we got a fair number of people. Who likes going into a room of strangers that they don't know and introducing yourself and mingling? Few people. Who likes getting up in front of a group of people they don't know and speaking about something? Again, fair number of people. I would say probably 10%. Does that say? So for the other 90%, is it safe to assume that you're not alone? Right? 10% of people, highly motivated, want to go out and speak, think it's a great idea, right? So for those of you that aren't, why aren't you? Why aren't you a people person? Why aren't you that gregarious person that gets up every morning and goes, I'm going to go out and meet people today? It's relatively the same for everybody, right? Fear? Fear of what? Fear of rejection. Fear of rejection. Do a lot of you tell yourselves, I'm just not that kind of person. I'm just not wired that way. I just don't do that. That's not me, right? Don't like talking about myself. I don't like walking up to people and going, hey, I'm TJ the insurance guy, man. Nice to meet you, right? Now all of a sudden I'm that guy, right? Don't like people. Some people, you know what? I'm fine sitting at home watching TV by myself. I just don't like people. I like my dog, right? You see those bumper stickers all the time, right? Another thing is just not interested. Look, I don't really care what kind of day you're having. You know? It happens all the time in the office. You pass somebody in the office, how's your day? And you start, oh, well, let me tell you about my day. And he's like, yeah, that's cool, man. Appreciate it. You don't really care how your day is, right? He wants you to go, my day's great, man. Right? So it's the same for everybody, and it was the same for me. It's the same. It literally is. If you look it up, Google it, whatever you want to do on the internet, it's the same for everybody. But what I'm telling you is that that's limiting behavior, and that opportunity exists all around you. A lot of you got up today and you came to this Launchpad thing. You said, I'm going to go to this Launchpad thing. It's a networking thing. I need to do it. I'm going to check off the box. Said I did a job search today. Helps me get my unemployment. I might meet somebody. I'm going to get some free bananas and some cookies and some coffee. There's going to be some insurance guy up there talking to me. And then I'm going to go home, right? Right, exactly. Rick. Pretty basic, right? What you don't understand is a million tiny things had to come together for this to happen. For us to be here, for me to be here, for me to talk here, for Mark Miller to be here, for John to be here, to Fred to be here. It's an opportunity. This particular situation is never going to happen ever again. Period. Launchpad will be here. The same members may come here. I may even speak again. God forbid. But this particular situation is an opportunity unlike and very unique to itself that will never happen again, period. It's the same thing every time you walk out the door. That particular situation will never, ever happen again. It's an opportunity. Why don't we plug into that opportunity? Well, some of the reasons are the same things that we just talked about. Fear of the unknown, fear of rejection, and that sort of thing, right? What I challenge you in your job search is, how does everybody here search for a job? LinkedIn, go to recruiting events, go to job fairs, come to networking events, sit next to the same people, right? We all kind of do it the same way. This is the accepted way. This is how you search for a job. As long as I do it enough and I send out enough resumes, keep my nose to the grindstone, eventually something will happen, right? It's not that way necessarily anymore. And how many of you know who's going to offer you your next job and what job it's going to be? Raise your hand if you know. Right? Mark Miller knows. If I knew every person on the planet that needed insurance, I wouldn't waste my time talking to the people that I have to convince, or that need convincing, or that don't realize they need insurance, correct? If you knew the person that was going to hire you, that was going to offer you your job, wouldn't you cut out all the nonsense and go talk to that person? The problem is you don't know, correct? So we send out blanket resumes and we talk to as many people as we can. But do we really talk to as many people as we can? That's the question, right? So a quick story about myself. My largest client to date came from a source that I had no idea. When I was first starting in this, I was about 6 months into the job, and I was at Chick-fil-A with a couple other agents, and I started talking to the cashier that was helping me out. And it turned out that she was a single mom, just moved here. Anyway, struck up a conversation, told her I did life insurance, health insurance, the usual talk, right? Because that was my talk at the time. Just so happened that she needed life insurance. 6 months later, wrote a tiny policy on her. It was like $18 a month, something like that. 6 months after that, she lapsed it because she couldn't afford it anymore as a single mom, right? I kept in touch with her, became friends with her, went to coffee with her a couple times after that. 18 months after that, she introduced me to my largest client to date. Totally out of the blue. Called me and said, had someone that I need you to talk to, have someone I need you to meet. You never know when it's going to happen. You never know where it's going to come from. So doesn't it make sense that the more people you know, the more chances and the more opportunity that are going to come your way? You never know. So I was sitting down after that at the end of close of last year, and I was sitting down and I was talking to our business planner. And he said, what are your income goals for the next year? And I said, well, I'd like to make more than I made last year. And he said, well, what is that number? And I gave him a number, and he said, are you going to hit that number? And I said, well, I don't think so. He said, well, why not? And I said, well, because the number that I hit last year was based largely upon my largest client, and I can't duplicate those results because who knows when I'm going to come across someone like that. And they said, can you duplicate all the things that you did to get that client? And I said, no, there's no way, because how am I supposed to know? I don't know who has that kind of money to move around and who needs that kind of stuff. He said, where did you get the client? I said, I got that client through a referral. And they said, where did you get that referral? I said, the referral was someone that I met 2 years ago that I stayed in touch with, became friends with. He said, can you go out today, meet someone, stay in touch with them, become friends with them, and hope that they refer someone to you in 2 years? And I said, yes. He said, then stop worrying about the who, what, and where, because you don't know. It's the same thing with your job search. Now, I'm not suggesting that you go 2 years looking for a job, but I am suggesting that if you use some of the tools that I'll give you later on, and you broaden your network and you expand your thinking and you stop limiting yourself to this job club or that job search or this networking event, and seize the opportunity that's around you every single day, it will help you in the long run. Who here thinks that the next job that they're going to get, they're going to retire, it's going to be it? They're good. Right. Because statistics are against you. Statistics are against that you will retire at whatever job you currently hold or the next job that you get. Therefore, at some point, aren't you going to be in the job search market again? And wouldn't it be nice for 2 years down the road for someone to call you out of the blue and say, hey, I know you're not happy with the job that you're doing. I know you took it because you're in some hard times and you needed a job, but I found an opportunity for you. And I'd like to introduce you to this person. That's what I'm talking about. So, what does as soon as means? When you say, I'm going to go do this as soon as, or as soon as this happens, I'm going to do this, what does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. It means nothing, right? I meet with people all the time. Well, TJ, I'd love to start a retirement account. As soon as I get a raise, as soon as I get a next job, as soon as I do this. And I ask them this, I say, John, you're 43 years old. Are you making more now than you were when you were 16? The answer is yes, right? How many raises have you got between 16 and now? Who knows? right? Because you switched jobs and moved up the ladder and that kind of thing. So when is as soon as going to come? You said you're going to start saving for retirement as soon as you get your next job, as soon as you got your next raise. You just told me you've had 30 raises over the past 18 years and you haven't done it yet. As soon as is now. Today is the time. Expand your thinking. Stop limiting yourself today. Again, we talked a little bit of disappointment. Remember, the disappointment comes from not achieving the desired result, not from taking the action itself. Again, I have an 80% failure rate, yet 5 years later, I'm still doing what I'm doing. Stop focusing on results and learn to enjoy the action itself. So, that moves us to what is networking. What is networking? Somebody tell me what networking is? Conversation. Why is it important? Why is networking important? Okay. What is the purpose of networking? Which is different than why is it important. What is the purpose? And this is going to require, I'm going to challenge you on this one. What is the purpose of networking? Communicate what? Information about what? Dig deeper than that. When you go to a networking event, what are you hoping to achieve? Connections and relationships based on what? Based on business, based on?
I'm cultivating resources
Okay. By doing what?
by having my net, by meeting people, having relationships. Social relationships.
It is an exchange,
Okay.
often ideas or, what I'm looking for. They're looking
So why does it suck so much? Why is it so hard, and why do we all hate doing it? Why is it that before I even gave this talk today, someone in the back of the room who I know said, are we going to have to get up and do activities and network? Or can we just sit and listen? Why, if it's so easy, if it's conversations, it's a free exchange of information, why does it suck, and why is it so hard, and why do we all hate doing it?
It takes some effort.
Okay. Does it take what kind of effort? Physical effort or mental effort?
Not much. It just takes effort.
Okay.
It's an inherently unnatural kind of activity because you aren't coming together because of a shared interest that you know, like in a meetup group where you're getting together to do knitting or to do something that you already know why you're coming.
So there's no common ground.
There's no common ground, so it's
You have to get out of your comfort zone.
Right.
it makes it really awkward.
Which takes us back to the 90% of people that aren't people, correct?
For me, it's very vulnerable.
Sure.
I make myself very vulnerable because I don't really, quite honestly, have a great deal of pride in my work history.
Okay, so let's expand on that for just a second, right? He says it makes him feel vulnerable because he doesn't have a whole tremendous amount of pride in his work history. Okay? So is it safe to assume that when we go to networking events, one of the foremost things in the front of our head is, I need to let everybody here know what it is that I do, so that I can be referable and they can plug me into whatever job opportunity it is that comes along? Is it safe to assume that a lot of us go to networking events? I'm going to let you in on a big secret. Nobody cares what it is you do. Unless someone has specifically given you permission to speak and ask you about what it is that you do, nobody cares. It's the truth. It's the hard truth, but it's the truth. So, that's going to lead me to my next activity. You guys can all remain seated. I only need one person. I need one volunteer. Okay, you're next. I'll need two. I'll need one and then one more. Okay? So, Maestro, can you give me 60 seconds again? So,
background, we're networking event. We're seeing each other from across the room. I walked up to you and introduced myself, okay? You're very inactive in this. You don't have to do a whole lot till the end. Okay?
Okay, I think I heard
Okay.
that.
Okay.
okay. So, Victoria and I had a networking event. We were both standing around, weren't really talking to anybody. I took the initiative and went up and started talking to her. Okay? So this is networking. This is 60 seconds of networking. Hi, Victoria. My name's TJ. How are you?
Hi, TJ, doing great.
Great. You come to here a lot?
First time.
Is it? First time you looking for a job?
Yes.
Great, I'm looking for a job too. I don't know if you know what I do or not, but I have an insurance practice, and I can do disability insurance, I can do life insurance, I can do health insurance, I can help you roll your 401k. I don't know if you had a 401k at your last job, but I help a lot of people roll over 401ks. And you said you're here looking for a job. Does that mean you don't have any life insurance? You don't have health insurance? Because I can help you with that. So if you'd like to come and meet with me, we can sit down and I can help you. And then, and if you know anybody else, what I really like to do is get you to help me, introduce me to some of your friends so that I can sell them insurance too, because that's what I do. I don't know if I told you that or not, but what I do is I do insurance, and I have my own practice. I'm really good at what I do. I have a whole lot of clients, and like, I don't know if I do life insurance, I do disability insurance, I do health insurance, I do IRAs. I can do all of that for you. So, do you live here? Do you have a lot of family here that maybe we could all kind of get together and I can tell you about what it is that I do? Does that make sense? Does that sound like a good idea to you?
Yeah, sure, okay, yeah.
So, what is she thinking? Is she ever going to refer me? Is she ever going to remember me, other than the fact that I'm that guy? Right? I challenge you, is that what you do when you meet people at recruiting? You ask a couple of questions and then you magically launch into what it is you do, because you want to make absolutely sure that before that person walks away from you, they know everything that you do, so that any person that they run into, thank you very much, sorry. Any person that they run into, they might be able to plug you into a job. Don't do it. She doesn't care. She hates me. She'll never talk to me ever again. She's certainly not going to refer me. And any other person that she runs across at that networking event, she's going to go, don't go talk to TJ, man. It's not worth it.
I think what you really just presented with the young lady there is that a lot of times when people go to networking events, they're looking at it as what's in it for me, rather than trying to build a relationship with the person or a collaboration with the person and getting to know the person, building a friendship. That's really what the networking to me is for, because then people can know not only what kind of work you're looking for, but really what kind of person are you.
That's a good point. And
What are you about? Because it's not just
Sure.
looking at a person. It's more than just looking for a job. It's basically what kind of person are you? What are your interests outside of your career?
And that you're jumping ahead a little bit in my presentation. I'm going to cover that, but I'm also going to challenge you on a point in that coming up. Okay? So this leads me back to my point that I made a second ago. She doesn't care. She didn't care when she met me. What is it I do? And she certainly cares less now about what it is that I do. So another 60 seconds. David, why don't you come up here real quick? You raised your hand. You're on the hook now. So 60 seconds. I told you I'd tie this all together. You guys spent 60 seconds asking questions earlier, right? It's not very painful, correct? So cue the 60. We're good. Hey, David, my name is TJ. Nice to meet you.
It's good meeting you.
Your first time here?
No.
No? Been here a couple times?
Well, I've been coming here for a few months now.
Just coming here for a few months. So you got laid off a couple months ago?
Well, I've been doing a lot of temp work, substitute teaching. I decided to go back to school.
Oh, really? What'd you go back to school for?
I'm going to Austin Community College.
Okay.
Their APT program,
Nice.
accelerated programmer training program.
Do you want to get? You said you did some teaching before. Do you want to go back into the tech programming kind of field?
Well, there are things I like about teaching,
Mm-hmm.
and there are a lot of things that I like about web design and what have you. And I just kind of would like to do something to combine the two.
Combine the two. So in your mind, what would that be? Have you done any research? Googled anything like that?
No.
Okay.
I really don't know.
Have you just Googled anything that said maybe teaching/web design or something? Maybe you could teach at ACC. Maybe you could teach at ITT or something like that.
That would be good.
Yeah. Excellent. Very much different, correct? So stay up here. What does he think about me? He likes me. Why? Right. But he doesn't know anything about me, correct? He doesn't know anything about what it is that I do, right? So some of the time you're going to run into that. 99% of the time, at the end of that, he's going to say, what is it that you do? Which means what? Now he's interested because he's given me permission to talk. Right? Now he's interested. Now I can do two things. I can regurgitate just like I did a second ago, in which case he's going to go, whoa, still don't know exactly what that guy does, but I asked him, so he told me, right? Or I can have a quick, polished elevator speech that will allow him to know what I do, be interested in what I do, and allow him to think that I'm likable. It's not about being liked. You don't need to go out and make everybody like you because it's not going to happen. What you need to be is be likable, right? Which is more important. So which is more important? What you know, letting everybody on the planet know what you know, or having enough people know who you are and know you, and know that you're likable? Which is more important? The second one, exactly. So, how do you want people to talk about you when you leave? Do you want them to be able to recite everything that you do down to the last 5 jobs you had and where you went to college? Or do you want them to go, you know what, that David, he seems like a nice guy, man. I know he's got some background in teaching and I know he's got some background in tech and he's kind of trying to marry the two. If I come across something like that, I'll refer him over. Does that make more sense? So how do we get people to think that we're likable? Again, not like us, but think that we're likable.
Ask about them.
Exactly. Number one, take an interest in them by asking questions, right? How else can we get people to like us or think that we're likable? Can you stop if there's a lady by the side of the road, stop and help her change a tire? So you help them, correct? And it doesn't have to be big, grand gestures. You can help them however, right? And the third is to give first. To become a person that people identify as someone who gives first, rather than someone that's always about taking, me, right? So, what's that? First one is to take an interest in them. So in a practical knowledge, how does that work? What are easy things that we can do every day to take an interest in people, help them, and to give first? What is every person's favorite subject? Themselves. So what is the easiest thing that you can ask people to make them think that you're likable? Tell me about yourself.
My favorite way of meeting someone is always ask them, how did you get to office? Ask them to tell their story. Every one of us has a story to tell.
Can we agree, going back to the 60 seconds that we did in the beginning where we asked questions, that networking is very, very much easier when the pressure to impress the other person is taken off. When you don't feel the need to tell everybody exactly how great you are and why they should hire you and why you're the best for the job. Correct? I'm not talking about job interviewing, I'm talking about networking. We can take the pressure off of what it is that we do when we network by putting the emphasis on the other person. Don't tell everybody everything about yourself. Who do people do business with? Who do people refer? And who do people recommend? People they like. Is it always the most qualified person that gets the job and the promotion? Have anybody here ever had a job where you actually go like, how the heck does that person keep a job? That person's an idiot. And then the boss come by and go, hey man, John, you want to go to lunch? And he walks away and you go, okay, now I understand, right? When I went through FCS, which is Fundamental Career School at New York Life, my very first day, I was in there with 19 other potential agents. My very first day in class, the managing partner, the highest level guy at the local New York Life office, walked up to one of the guys in the class and said, it's good to have you here, man. And I went, and now he's one of the top producing agents in New York Life. Now, he's got a lot of talent and a lot of skill, but doesn't hurt, right? Doesn't hurt to be thought of as likable and know the right people, correct? So, when you get to that elevator pitch, when you ask them all the questions and you run the circle and they get to the point and they say, so what is it that you do? Anybody here, everybody here has heard about elevator speeches, what you're supposed to put into it. Does somebody have a good one? Something that they like, that they use? So out of all the training, out of all the job search, out of all the everything, the classes and training and networking that you've gone to, no one here has developed an elevator pitch. Why? For the exact same reasons that we talked about before. It's intimidating, it's fearful, we don't like it, it's not natural, all the exact same things, right? And then you run into the gamut of, well, how do I fit everything that is that I do into one 15-second speech, correct? So then we just refine it down. Well, do I really need to put this job experience, or could I just use this job experience, right? It's not about your job experience. Why? Because nobody cares, okay? What you want to do with your elevator pitch is have a statement, or better yet, a question that gets them interested in a follow-up question about what it is you do. It's the same thing when somebody asks you, how are you doing? And you launch into a tirade about how you're actually doing, and they go, look, man, all I wanted to hear you say was I'm fine. When somebody says, what is it you do? Half the time, all they want to know is 5 seconds, 5 words about what it is you do, right? So unless you can hook them and get them interested in really what it is that you do, and they give you permission to speak, they're not going to care. So what do I do? Do I sell insurance? What happens if you ask me what I do and I go, I sell insurance? I'm good, man. I don't need any insurance. Fine. When I cold call and walk into a business owner and I say, hey, and they go, what are you selling? And I go, insurance. What do they say? Yeah, I'm good, man. I got insurance. I need to get out of my store, right? So what do? I help individuals and businesses fill in the gap between what they have and what they want. Right? Why? Because A, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, correct? So if you don't ask a follow-up question, I know that you're not interested. Real easy for me. Cut and run. Cool. Appreciate your time. If you follow up, what exactly do you mean? What have you just done? You've given me permission to speak, right? So, I challenge you to build an elevator speech that will build interest rather than simply regurgitate everything it is that you do and that you know. It can be a question, it can be a statement, it can be something that is make it general, but not vague, right? Mine is very general because I do a lot of different things. But doesn't everybody, what problem do I solve? I solve the problem of helping people change from what they have to what they want. Doesn't everybody have that problem? Whether it's in insurance, or whether it's the house, or whether it's the job they want, or whether it's the kids don't behave, or whether it's they don't have enough money. Doesn't everybody have a situation that's different than what they would like to have in the ideal situation? So the natural follow-up question is, well, what do you mean? Then I can go into what it is I do. That's your elevator speech. So practical use, to wrap up. We got one more activity, we got practical use. Practical use, because none of this is any good at all unless you can use it, right? I challenge you, and I use this when I train new agents. We'll be sitting at Subway, or we'll be sitting at wherever it is we happen to go for lunch. And there'll be a line of people, and I say, I want you to pick 3 people out of that line, and I want you to give me 3 things about each person that you could walk up to them and start a conversation with them about right now. It doesn't have to be about insurance, it doesn't have to be about the weather, it doesn't have to be about anything. 3 things about each person. Somebody stand up. Anybody, stand up. 1 person. Well, now I got 2 people. Right? So, 3 things about Eric that we can start a conversation about right now. That he would see us on a favorable, you don't want to make it too personal. First time here, so take it out of this situation. Take it into a situation where you're standing in line at HEB and you want to start a talk with the guy behind you. Perfect. Clothing is a perfect way. Hairstyle with women, guys not so much. Shoes, accessories, anything. It doesn't make any difference. Women are much better at this than men. Women are much better at, I wear a lot of red shoes too. Where'd you get those shoes? I'm always looking for a good deal. Women are much better at it than men. It's just not something we do culturally. Plus, a lot of guys don't really, yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate you looking at my clothes, dude. Right? I'm not asking you to go, yeah, there you go. You ride a motorcycle, right, how long you been riding? I rode, what kind of bike do you ride? Anything like that, right? I wear boots. Just so you know, I wore boots when I lived in California, and then I moved to Austin, and I said, nobody in Texas wears boots. I don't understand. Boots for me are very, 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 very easy conversation starter. Anybody I see with a pair of boots, what are those? Where'd you get them? How long you had them? I wear boots every day. I'm from California. I wear boots in California, and I got to Austin, nobody wears them, right? I'm not asking you, telling you need to go out and do this today. I'm challenging you that wherever you are, start thinking this way. Look at someone without staring at them. You don't want to be gawking. You don't want to get arrested, right? But just glance at somebody and go, I bet I could talk to them about this. It's not going to happen today. You're not going to walk. I'm not going to telling you you're going to walk out of here today and go to Starbucks, right, and get a job because you talked to 10 people. It's not going to happen. But a baby step is start thinking this way. Paradigm shift. Rewire your thinking. Networking opportunities and job search opportunities are everywhere, all the time. What do they always say about Austin? The guy next to you in jeans and cutoff shorts could be a millionaire. You don't know in Austin. It's not like New York. You got to go hang out where millionaires are, right? Austin, you can be at County Line Barbecue, sit next to the, I know the CEO of Cirrus Logic. I saw him the other day. I was like, that's how you dress, man? I can't get you a job there. I'm just telling you. I know. 3-second rule. 3-second rule is, if you're in an event, if you see someone you want to talk to, whether it's a girl you want to go out with, whether it's someone you want to dance with, whether you're at a networking event, whether it's a CEO of a business that you want to meet, if you hadn't taken active steps towards that person by the time you count to 3 in your head, you're not going to. If I want to talk to Michael here, and I stand there going, I wonder if he owns a company, man. I bet he owns a company. I bet he's looking for a guy just like me. I'd really like to go talk to that guy. Oh, he's already talked to somebody else. I need to go. I'd like to go talk to Michael. 1, 2, 3. Michael, my name is TJ. Nice to meet you. Use the 3-second rule. Whenever you're in a room, whenever you're intimidated, it motivates you to action. Why is it 3 seconds? Because everybody understands 3, right? If you don't clean your room by the time I count to 3, if you don't get out of that pool by the time I count to 3, I'm going to count to 3, and you better have had this done, right? Everybody understands 3. 3-second rule. Get used to it. Anytime you're in a network event, anytime there's somebody you want to talk to, anytime there's a question you want to ask, if you haven't done it by the time you count to 3, chances are you're not going to do it. Once you internalize it and understand it, it's very easy because now you have to. 1, 2, I better get going. Right? Network with a purpose. Who has a set-in-stone purpose when they go to a networking event? Who knows exactly what they're there to achieve when they go in that door? Anybody, raise your hand. Tell me what it is that you're there to achieve when you go to a networking event.
Motivation.
Motivation. How are you going to get it?
Listening to you, meeting with other people.
Can you control whether or not the networking event you're going to is going to motivate you? No. So it's not a goal. There's a big mix-up between goals and other things. A goal is something that you yourself can achieve and is reliant upon nobody else. If I say I want to make 6 figures this year, it's not a goal because I don't have control over that. The only thing that I can control is that I know that to make 6 figures, I need to have this many clients that make me this many dollars. I can't control that. All I can control is that I need to talk to this many people to get this many clients that'll pay me this amount of dollars that'll get me 6 figures. It's the activity that matters. It's not the goal if it's not achievable by you. I challenge you that when you go to a networking event, you have to set a goal that's incumbent upon you to fulfill and nobody else. You can't control how many people are going to like you. You can't control whether you're going to meet the CEO of Oracle. You can't control any of it. So who here can set a goal at a networking event that's incumbent upon you? What's a connection? How are you going to quantify that conversation? How can you walk away from that conversation saying, I count that as a connection? Is it simply that we exchange names or exchange business cards, or is it we had a meaningful discussion? I'm not trying to be hard on you, I'm challenging you. Because this is where we get caught up. There's no way to quantify it. So every day is a failure. If you go into a networking event and you don't achieve a goal that wasn't achievable in the first place, when you go home, you failed. Nobody wants to be a failure every day. I fail 80% of the time. If I took that 80% failure rate home every day, I would be out of this business in 3 months.
Since I first came here in 2004, my goal has been 3 people at a
3 people at a networking event that you can contact on a favorable basis. They don't have to know everything that you do. They don't have to know, you don't have to know everything that they do. That you can contact on a favorable basis. So that when you call, they don't even necessarily have to know you the second you pick up the phone. You don't have to go, hey Michael, this is Cindy. Oh, okay, Cindy, how you been? Right? Hey Michael, this is Cindy. I met you the other day at Launchpad. We kind of had a nice discussion. Just wanted to call and see how your job search is going. If you're going to any events, if you're going to anything.
By the way, I usually go to something that would be considered a networking event once a week, whether I'm employed or not.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do the numbers, which you started off the presentation doing, that means you've got another 150 connections by each year, at the end of each year.
Precisely. So, what he was saying was he goes to a networking event whether he's once a week, whether he's employed or not, right? And if you take that into account, and if you do your 3 people, which is the number, there's a lot of 3s because everybody understands 3. If you meet 3 people a week, over the course of you, that's 150 new people that you can contact on a favorable basis that view you as likable. Now the next time, if you do that 2 years in a row while you're gainfully employed and then you find yourself out of work, you now have 300 people in your network, regardless of LinkedIn, Facebook, all that other kind of stuff, face-to-face people that you can call on the phone on a favorable basis, that will take your call, that you can say, hey Michael, I know we met a year ago or so at a networking event. I just called to let you know, unfortunately, I lost my job. I don't know if you can help me or not. I'm not looking to your shoulder to cry on, anything like that, but just wanted you to know. I'd love to have coffee with you, kind of touch base, tell you what it is I'm looking for. Now, because you can contact them on a favorable basis, you have permission to talk to them and tell them about what it is that you're looking to do. Simple enough, right? Next activity. I should have handed these out sooner. I want everybody to take an index card or a piece of paper, doesn't matter which, doesn't matter. I want everybody to write down 5 questions that you would feel comfortable asking at a networking event. Any event, not this event, not where you know somebody. 5 questions that you would feel comfortable asking to a complete stranger. They cannot be yes or no questions, with one caveat. The only caveat, everybody says don't ask yes or no questions. The only caveat to a yes or no question is, you can ask a yes or no question if you have an immediate follow-up question, regardless of whether they answer yes or regardless of whether they answer no. Then we're going to share them because somebody here has thought of a question that you haven't thought of.
Yes, no questions.
So they cannot be yes-no questions unless you already have a follow-up question in mind, regardless of whether they answer yes or no. So if I ask you, are you from Austin? And you go, no, and I go, oh. Right? The natural follow-up question is, oh, where are you from, or how long have you been here? That is the only time that it's acceptable in a conversation with someone you don't know, from whom you're trying to elicit a favorable response, to ask a yes or no question, because otherwise the conversation's over. Would you like it here in Austin? No. Okay. No, unfortunately I have to tear one of those in half, I'm sorry. They don't have to be earth-shattering questions, they just have to be conversation-starting questions. We're running a little tight, so who'd like to stand up and read their 5 questions? Anyone?
What's going on with you today?
I'm going to repeat them just so everybody can hear. What's going on with you today?
What brought you here?
What brought you here?
What are you looking for?
What are you looking for?
What's on the floor?
That's 3. Yeah. Anybody else?
Is it raining outside?
Is it raining outside? Oh, I'm sorry, go lady in orange first. All 5. That's fine. How long have you been in Austin? What brought you here? What's your favorite thing to do in your spare time? What is your dream job and what appeals to you about that? If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? Have you been here before? Do they generally have good speakers, or is this a good networking event type thing? Okay, so if they say no to, they usually don't have good speakers, then why do you continue to come, or what brought you here today? Are you familiar with the speaker? Do you know what they'll be talking about today? Something like that? Sure. So now I want you to consider questions that we've gotten through the chit chat. We've accepted the fact that we can stand in each other's space and ask each other questions. Now I'd suggest that you write down 3 questions that you would think would help them get a job. 3 questions that you think that you could use to help them get a job. Did I say that right? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
How is your ongoing education been of a benefit to you in your industry?
How's your ongoing education been of a benefit to you in your industry?
What do you dislike about the past jobs that you've had that you'd like to change in your future work life?
What do you dislike about the past jobs that you've had that you would like to change in your new work life?
And how do you consider yourself a subject matter expert in our shared interest?
How do you consider yourself a subject matter expert in your shared interest?
What is your specialty?
What is your specialty? I'm going to challenge you on those a little bit because they're fairly specific. Okay, so if someone's not doing any continuing education, they're going to go, I'm not doing any.
Most people in most industries at least read a trade magazine.
I'm just challenging you on it. You kind of want to be general. Again, you've just met this person. What question that you would ask them? Sure, again, correct. So I met with a lady the other day, and we were talking, and she's laid off, and we, just through discovery, I asked her. Turned out she spoke Mandarin. So I said, well, have you done a Google search for Mandarin-speaking jobs in Austin? And she said, no. And I said, well, I'm sure it's a fairly limited market. I said, I don't know it's necessarily in your field, but I guarantee you if what they need is a Mandarin speaker, they're going to train you to do whatever it is that they need you to do. What type of job are you looking for? So refine it down. Go between what he was saying and what you were saying. So what type of job are you looking for? What's going to happen is you're going to get someone that's going to give you a whole bunch of stuff, and you're going to walk away from it going. So when I meet with people, especially with people in the tech field, and I say, so what did you do before? And they go through a whole bunch of things. I just sit there and look at them and go, I don't have any idea what it is that you do. And you're going to have to break it down a little bit more for me so that if I find an opportunity, I said, I'm not a tech guy. You can tell me all the languages that you can program in. It doesn't help you any, because I don't know what you're talking about. So you got to remember, the networking event, you're going to run into people that have no experience whatsoever in what it is that you do, right? So when you're asking a question and when you're giving a response to a question about what do you do, you need to have the technical one and you need to have the layman's one. You need to have both. Because the tech guy is going to get bored if you go, I'm a programmer. He's going to go, well, you're not a very good one because you didn't tell me anything, right? And if you're talking to the cocktail waitress, and she says what it is that you do, and you go, oh, well, I did this, I was a product manager on this, and I can program on this, this, and this, she's going to go, great, man, appreciate it, right? So, conversationtips.org, if you're looking for questions, don't have a list of questions, conversationtips.org will give you questions for every situation. Some of them you're going to like, some of them you're going to hate, some of them are just plain stupid. I challenge you to memorize 5 to 8 questions, to work them into your vernacular, and to make them part of the way you speak when you're out in public and when you're out at a networking event.
What are your 5?
It depends on where I am. So I have my elevator talk. What is it you do, right? I help people fill in the gap between what it is they have and what it is they want, right? Elevator, I'm always going to start with, what do you do? How long have you done it? Do you like it? Tell me what you like about it. Tell me what you don't like about it. Because I'm eliciting feelings and emotions. I don't want to just say what is it you don't like about it, because that takes the conversation down a negative track. Right? So in my business, where am I leading that? Where am I going with, what is it you like about your job? What is it you don't like about you? So Cindy, what is it you do?
I develop training
You develop training for what kind? For companies?
for companies.
So what kind of training?
I develop e-learning, scenario-based e-learning.
Scenario-based e-learning. So you work with school districts, or you work with private companies that are developing software and programs for e-learning?
Private companies.
Private companies.
I've worked with high tech. I've worked with the electronic medical records software.
Okay.
And I've also worked with mortgage services.
Okay, and so are you on the sales end or you're on the development end?
I developed
You're on the development training. So you kind of a people. You like to impart education and help people. Nice, nice. So are those typically career positions, or are those typically contract positions or short-term positions? Career positions. What do you like about it?
I like helping people understand,
Okay. What didn't you like about it?
not being able to be as creative as I'd like to be.
Okay. Okay. So you said you work for some big companies, right? Right. When you work for those companies, typically they come with like a benefits package.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So where did I take her? I took her to what it is that I do. Because now we're talking about benefits, and she's given me permission to ask her questions about a benefits package, right? Because what do? I help people fill in the gap between what it is that they have and what it is that they want. Right? Because it's what I do, and it's because it's the way I talk. It's my business. Do you feel put out? Do you feel like I was trying to sell you something, or get information from you, or dig down or be personal?
No, in fact, why am I tripling my life insurance with my company that I just left? I want to ask you about.
See? It's that simple. And it exists everywhere around you. Make it part of who you are and what it is you do. Take an interest in life and the people around you. I have a 2-year-old son. Every day is a new day to him. Every day. Every day is the single greatest day of his life. And whether you're looking for a job and you're down in the dumps and you don't have any money, I've been there. When I started in this career, trust me, I was there. It's commission-based sales. The difference was I had a job, but I had a job that I wasn't making any money at. So not only did I have to get up and put on the suit and be responsible and show up on time, I was still struggling trying to figure out how to pay the bills, right? And they put you through sales training, they tell you about their product, and they tell you how to do this and tell you how to do that, right? It wasn't until I learned how to make it part of who I was, and I was proud of what I did, I branded my business and became who I am, that it became. But it can start today. Today is the day. It's not tomorrow. It's not next week. Take one thing from today, one question from today, and work it into the way that you talk, into who you are. And what will happen is, even if you could care less today, even if you really don't care how the guy in HB line behind you is having a day, the more you do it, the more you will care, because it will become part of who you are. I'm not an insurance guy. I honestly help people. I had a lady the other day said that the policy that we switched her to was the greatest insurance policy she's ever had, health insurance. Period. I didn't elicit that. I didn't call her back. She called me. Insurance is one of those things that gets a bad rap, and there's a lot of bad people out there. There's a lot of bad people out there in any industry, right? Make it who you are, and make it become part of what you do. Hope I helped.